Hey, curious cuties. Welcome to Curiosity. I'm your host, Lauren Deliri, and today we're going on a deep dive into the transformative journey of singer-songwriter Chelsea King as she shares insights from her upcoming album centered around rediscovering and healing her femininity. From her experiences working with shamans and meditating around the world, to her deep understanding of karma, karmic ties, and past lives, Chelsea takes us on a spiritual voyage like no other. You'll discover the profound impact of sobriety, the mystical allure of moldavite, and cultural heritage in Chelsea's exploration of self-discovery and healing. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or simply curious about alternative healing modalities, this episode offers wisdom, inspiration, and a glimpse into the power of music as a tool for transformation. I know that the curious cuties are going to be so obsessed with you because we have lots of different people, like different backgrounds and different spiritual kind of takes. You know, one of my really good friends, Alice, she basically is anti-spiritual. She's an atheist, and like she was on a couple episodes ago. So then like we really got into the nitty gritty with her, with like what that means for her. And now here you are. We're going to get into all your things. So, okay, first question.
Okay.
All right. So can you tell us more about your upcoming album? You mentioned that when we were talking earlier, and how it ties into your journey of rediscovering and healing and femininity.
Yes. So I guess when I was writing it, I didn't really have a concept in mind, but looking back, I'm like, wow, this whole album has been such a tribute to rediscovering and healing my femininity, which is something that I feel like was taken from me at a young age before I even became a woman. So, you know, I think every girl at some point in their lives goes through this mourning, grieving period of time where you still feel like a little kid. It's usually in your late teens, but all of a sudden you look like a woman and you're thrown into this society where men start looking at you like an object and stop treating you the way they did when you were a little girl.
Yeah.
And it can be really scary and really sad when you hit that period of your life. Just it feels like you're grieving the loss of your childhood and your early years. And I think when I hit that period of my life, I was almost afraid of my femininity because I don't know how deep we want to go here.
Yeah, I mean, we can go all the way.
But I was sexually assaulted when I was 15 and that was, you know, I was a kid and so I was kind of afraid of being a woman because I felt like, you know, people would take advantage of me. And so I hit this age when I was 18. I still didn't really understand what happened to me when I was 15, but I knew that I was afraid and I felt afraid all the time. And so I cut my hair really short. I covered myself in terrifying tattoos.
You're like,
they're scary.
They're trying to scare off anybody who's going to come to mess with you.
Exactly. And I didn't realize that on a subconscious level, I got these tattoos as kind of like my armor to, you know, tell people not to mess with me because I am a small little
You're a petite little
girl.
woman.
Yeah. And you know, I cut my hair into a mullet myself. I stopped wearing bras. Like I only wore like double sports bras and like baggy clothes. I just didn't want to embrace that feminine side of me because I thought because I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
And then
makes sense.
Now, you know, I started a relationship with a man who has really helped me find the power in my femininity. And, he's helped me heal so much and allowed me to lean into my softer side.
Yeah, I've talked about that like on the podcast too about
Really?
like Adam. Yeah. I mean, definitely like before him, I was definitely a lot more closed off, and now I consider myself such a puddle. I'm like such a little softie now.
Same.
Because of him, and like
And
it's
a diva.
amazing. Yeah,
I'm
and
a diva.
It's true. Being able to like fully embrace the like your needs and state your needs and also be able to feel your feelings. Like you have to be in a safe place to do that.
Yes.
And people can be safe places as well.
So I think there's nothing more healing than a corrective emotional experience in a relationship with a man that is confident in his own masculinity and power, and also soft in his own way, you know, like that has been so healing for me, to be with a man who is willing to do the work and go the distance, and who's willing to be patient with me as I heal. And yeah, I think, you know, since he's helped me with that, my music has changed. My style has changed. I just bought bras for the first time. Like I'm actually like wearing dresses. Now I don't really feel like I align with my tattoos anymore. I actually went through a period where I hated my tattoos. I was like, why did I get these tattoos? And he reminds me that it's part of my story.
Yeah, it is.
And so this album, I really wrote that in the period of time where I was really healing that feminine side of me. So I think there's a lot more of like feminine elements. Like there's synths, it's very pink and like bubbly and cute, and it's like
versus the like your stuff before, it was like quite edgy
and angry. And I mean, there's like a metal song in there where I'm screaming.
Which is
very different.
Which is a vibe in and of itself, but it's like definitely speaks to the era that you were in.
Totally. And you know, I also think as I've been healing my more feminine side, I've kind of developed like friendships and relationships with other people in my life who are also going through that. And it's just really cool to, I don't know, explore healing that with other people too.
Yeah, for sure. So how many songs are on the album?
10.
10? Okay, great. And then how many have been released as singles?
Dude, I don't even know what I was doing with my release plan, but I think like 5 of them have been released.
Yeah, I thought quite a bit was out. Yeah. So, but there's 5 that are surprises.
Yeah.
So that's always good. So what's the name of the album?
It's called I'll Meet You in Dreams.
That's cute.
And each song explores dreaming in some way. You know, like the first song is about the manic pixie dream girl and how I reject that. I think that is the stupidest concept. And I hate that. I just hate the concept that a woman would be, their only purpose would be to be this side character in a man's story, which is the whole concept of a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah.
So I wrote the song describing one of my exes who talked about how he just wants to be with a manic pixie dream girl. I described him as my manic pixie dream girl.
I love that.
And yeah, and then each one is kind of about dreams. I have really vivid dreams, and my cat's usually in all my dreams.
Really?
Yeah, he protects me.
Oh.
Is Patchouli in your dreams?
No, but anytime I've done like spiritual, like tarot or stuff like that, she's always right next to me. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was a time that she like started growling at like nothing, and I was like, I'm gonna reshuffle these and put them back.
Yeah.
Just like let them rest for a second.
So you read tarot?
I do. I don't so much now, but I did. It was back whenever I was trying to like throw myself into every spiritual practice that I wasn't like allowed to explore. And I was like, oh, like nothing scary. Like I have always felt I am the most powerful of like in the spiritual realm. I'm like, if I'm going to dabble like in anything, I've got to have a lot of confidence in myself and my own like spiritual power.
Yes.
And I felt that way since even when I was in religion.
Yeah.
You know, I would have dreams of like getting rid of demons out of like rooms and people and stuff. So like, it's just something
Do you believe in past lives?
Yeah. It, depending on the day, I really do. And then some days I don't really think about it. And so it's not really a part of my like beliefs necessarily, but I believe it. Every time I talk about it, I believe in it. You know what I mean?
Because when you mention like getting rid of demons in rooms and stuff, I wonder, A, did you do that in a past life? B,
yeah, probably.
Are you doing that currently in this life in your dreams, in the astral? Are you currently healing people?
Probably. I think more in the sense of like parallel universe, like it's kind of happening all at once type of thing. So when it comes to past lives, I kind of think that it could be past, but it's like kind of happening right now, but like in a parallel universe more. I feel like more my train of thought as far as past lives go. But I've also thought that Adam and I have known each other in a past life in somewhere like Italy or Spain. So
definitely. And kind of to my belief of what I believe about past lives kind of coincides exactly with what you're saying, where I think time is a concept that humans create.
Yeah.
Really, time isn't linear. It doesn't go any way. It just is there. It's like a plate, and we're just like time worms that pop up. But from that explanation of it, when you throw in past lives, that means you could have a past life in the past, the future, or the present.
Exactly.
Which means we're all the same being.
Yeah. Well,
experiencing it itself.
We're all like one. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And like one of the things that I started to implement back whenever I first like started dating Adam, like so a phrase that I would say, and anytime I hear somebody else saying it, I like mentally take note. If you say, well, in another life, I, became a teacher, or in another life, I like, whatever. Almost like I wish I could do this, but like, my life's too crazy. I'm in my career now, and, in another life, I shaved my head. In another life, I blah, blah, whatever it is, I take note. I'm like, okay, like that could probably be this life. You're just like, that's your cop out. Like you're scared to do it. Like you're scared
just do it.
To implement it. Yeah.
Shave your head.
Yeah.
It'll grow back.
Exactly.
Cover yourself in scary tattoos.
And if you feel that feeling of like, oh, in another life, like I have this passion in another life, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I think maybe it is in another life, but my kind of thinking is like, it's this one. Like
there's no time like the present.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it.
By the way, the word I was looking for, I looked it up, is familiar.
Yes. Bean is 100% my familiar. Bean is my cat.
Well, she's not over here. But yeah, Patchouli's my familiar. I got her right when we started deconstructing our faith, like 6 months after we got married. And I say she's my spirit guide straight to hell.
That's cute.
So, it was truer than ever when I first said that, because she was a little, like, as a puppy, she was a little devil. Like, she was not an easy puppy. I adore her now. She's like my little twin flame. But yeah. Anyway, but we started deconstructing and she's been around for everything, been around for all of that. So anyway, I knew I had to get that word, or else we were going to go crazy.
Yes. Well, and it's crazy too, like when you meet your counterpart that you're supposed to be with for your life. I really believe in that. And when you meet that person, it's crazy the things that start unfolding. Like you meet your familiar pet too. Yeah. That's exactly when Bean came into my life, when Dawson and I got together.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Ugh, yeah. Patchouli, for about 2 years, we were unsure if we made the right choice. It took us a long time. And even
she's
still,
really cute.
She gives us the runaround, but yeah, she's adorable, and I literally can't imagine my life without her at this point. So anyway, Curious Cuties know how much I'm obsessed with her. She actually used to be like sitting next to me for all of the episodes, and then she just started getting like annoying. Like she just started standing, shaking. Like I was like, "You gotta go, girl. Yeah. You gotta go." But okay, so I wanna kind of like go off of what we were talking about before. So I want you to talk about how your like exploration of spirituality has influenced your music and creative process. Like I know you talked about your life experience.
Yeah.
And of course, like life happenings and then spirituality, it's kind of one and the same. We're constantly growing. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I think I always had a strong belief in something greater. And I grew up in the church. And I really, from a young age, rejected the church. Like it just didn't feel right to me. Mm-hmm. It never, ever felt right. I had to go to church every Sunday. I went to Catholic school. And I would go and I would show up because my mom wanted me, or my parents wanted me to.
Yeah.
But it never clicked for me. And I would often just spend that time like in my own head, daydreaming and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, I was assaulted when I was 15, and that really threw me for a loop, because at the same my aunt passed away, and she basically raised me, and then 2 months later I was assaulted, and then my dad moved to Canada.
Oh my gosh.
And then I lost all my friends.
Oh my gosh.
And this was all in a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and I was 15. And so that all happened at once, and then I, as a 15-year-old, didn't really know how to cope. I wasn't equipped, and my mom, her sister just died, and she wasn't able to show up in the way that I'm sure she wishes she could have, because she was grieving and her husband was working in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah.
It's it just was a lot to go through all of that at once. And so I kind of lost touch with my spirituality, and I started believing that nothing exists and that we just feed the earth when we die. But there was always a part of me that did believe still a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I really heavily turned to alcohol and was drinking a lot for like from 15 to I quit drinking in 2019. So when I was like 20 years old, I quit. But I, the times that I've been most spiritual are the times that I'm most connected to music. And I think they go hand in hand because music is a spiritual thing. It's you're a channel for whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, the creator, one. Like you're a channel for that into this world. And quitting alcohol when I was 20 really helped me rediscover my spirituality. I started reading tarot like you because that was like the first thing that I was like, ooh, what's this? Maybe I'm not allowed to do it.
It's spicy.
Yeah. I got really into crystals. I bought moldavite. My world flipped upside down. And then I would say I was like way too into crystals for a while, but I've always been a rock girl. Like I love rocks. I've always loved them.
Same.
I just collected them. Like I loved rocks.
I did too. I collected them. And then there was like a season of life where I would paint them and like name them. And
yes. I love them.
Like a little weirdo. But
it's not weird.
Love rocks.
We would have been best friends.
Yeah,
painting
probably.
our rocks together.
Probably, for sure.
But yeah, I think when I stopped drinking, I also became vegan at that point in time. So I was really like just trying to figure out what I believed, who I was. And I think we're constantly trying to figure out what we believe and who we are. But that was like definitely a breaking point for me. And I also dealt with like suicidal ideation at that time. And so I just knew I needed a big change. Yeah. And so I quit all those things and started meditating a lot, started having crazy visions in my meditations. And then I realized that impacts my music more than anything. And the more I meditate, the easier it is to access that channel when I'm writing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that answers your question really.
No, that's great. No, you answered it really well. I think a lot of people who are in touch spiritually, who are just like born with the kind of a connection to something greater, some sort of connection. When you go through trauma like you did, the thing you want to do is like cut off feeling. Like you want to just not feel as much because it just hurts so much. Whereas, when you were younger and as a kid, it was just kind of in flow for you. But then the trauma that you went through at 15, which by the way, thank you for sharing. I know that's like super vulnerable to share all that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, more people can relate than
1 in 3 women.
Yeah.
1 in 6 men.
Yeah. It's absolutely, it's staggering.
And that's why I think we need to talk about it, and I'm at peace with it now.
Yeah.
I think it was such a crucial part of my life to go through that. I needed that because I when that happened, I did cut off feeling, but that's when I discovered music. That's when I started writing. And I think it's because there was this subconscious part of me that was screaming to be like, have some sort of a connection with anything. Cause I didn't have any friends. I didn't have family. And so all I had was my music.
The connection between your spirituality and your music is something that not a lot of people like get to experience. I think maybe some people do, but they don't have like the words for it.
I think we all have that connection to spirit, to the universe. We're all born with that. But then life, we all come here to learn our soul lessons and to evolve as a soul. You get hit with trauma after trauma just existing. And trauma is such a big word, but even just like the smallest rejection can be a trauma.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets in the way of your connection from spirit because it's supposed to help you rediscover your connection so that you can grow and get stronger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I think about trauma, like you said, it could be like just even a rejection. Like people who are like into fitness, they talk about you when you're building muscle, like you're putting you're putting damage like on your muscles so that they can grow. There's like inflammation, there's like micro tears so that there's like more growth. And then I think about like estheticians, and they're like doing like little microblading or whatever it is. And it's like little poking in your face, but like regeneration of skin cells. And it's like, yeah, so trauma is trauma. And I mean, not all of it is as life changing, but I think it's important to recognize that like everybody has it and there can be growth from it. I don't think it's necessarily, I don't fully believe in the idea that everything happens for a reason. Like I do, but I don't like that phrase because I think in religion it was kind of used in a negative way.
It's used as an excuse.
Yes. And like those who caused harm were the ones usually saying it. And so I was like, I don't love that.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't think like, and you deserve to go through what you went through at all. But you, even hearing you say like, you're glad you did, like, I think it's healing, but it's also hard to hear. And people who can like maybe have been through it, I think it's still hard to like, to be able to feel or to say. But it does speak about your growth and like how you've really become a well-rounded person and you've experienced a lot. And that was just like a part of it.
It took a long time to find peace with it.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what had happened to me, but I have a really good therapist and she really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Belmont and I went to the Belmont.
Same.
Yeah. I went to the Belmont counselors and
Same.
told them, hey, this happened to me. I need to talk to someone. And they said, sorry, we don't deal with that here.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I have beef with their counseling too. So yeah, that's crazy. Oh my God.
But they referred me to the sexual assault center in Nashville.
Oh, well, that's good that they actually did something.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And
they
then-
didn't just turn you away.
No.
That's good.
Well, they did turn me away, but they gave me somewhere to go.
Yeah, okay.
And that's how I found my therapist. It was free. She was free for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
It was and I pay her now, but
Yeah.
I've been seeing her for like 6 years now.
Oh my
She's
gosh, wow.
saved my life. She's
Aw.
amazing. Therapy is life-changing. And
Yeah.
now I'm in couples therapy with my boyfriend now too, which
Yeah.
is my favorite thing in the entire world. I don't even know if he would be okay with me talking about that, but I think there's like a stigma around going to couples therapy when you're young, but I think it's like the best thing ever because clearly I have problems because I've been through a lot.
Yeah, we all have.
And so I kind of forced him. I was like, I need you to come to couples therapy with me. And he was game. He was on board. And so, you know, it's just having him show up and help me heal in that way it's been really, really huge in my life. And therapy's been huge. He's been huge. I don't think there should be any sort of stigma around therapy.
I agree.
Go to couples counseling when you're young, not when you're like 60 and having issues that you've had for 30 years.
Yes. Yeah. Go from the beginning and you're going to probably avoid issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I love that. Speaking of like your spirituality and all of that, I know you have talked about like karmic ties. Is that what it is? Yeah. Karmic ties, past lives. And so, yeah, I'm wondering like if you want to elaborate a little bit on like your understanding of those things and how those concepts have shaped your perspective on life and like relationships.
Totally. I think when you talk about karma's kind of like the money. It's like the capital of being a human, and every exchange creates karma.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily believe in good and evil. I don't believe in good and bad, but there's obviously two opposing things. So you could call them good, you could call them bad. The key is to kind of get net neutral. You want to be, you don't want to have any sort of karma, but every encounter creates that. And I've always like toyed with the idea of past lives, but I really started believing in them recently when I started having memories from a past life of mine, which actually with my therapist, she's going to do a past life regression with me next week. So she
does that?
Apparently.
Oh my God.
I just told her about my memories and she was like,
the same one that you've had? The same therapist? Oh my gosh.
But she said she doesn't normally offer it.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a little woo-woo.
Yeah.
But since I told her about my memories and everything. She was like, well, I do hypnotherapy and I can.
Oh my God.
So we're going to dive into that next week.
Oh, amazing. You
This
have to let me know like how it goes.
I will. It's kind of crazy because like I started getting all these memories of all the trauma that I went through in that life, and I know I was murdered, and I know who murdered me.
Oh my gosh!
And I know who they are in this life.
What?
Yeah, and the craziest part was I started getting these memories, and now sometimes when I fall into the like emotion that I primarily felt in that lifetime, which sometimes I'll feel that emotion, I'll be like, okay, I know this was from this girl that I was in this past life. It's not my emotion now.
Okay.
I'll look in the mirror and I'll see her, but she has my eyes. And she looks like me, but she has red hair.
Okay.
And she's not me. This sounds so crazy.
No,
I can't believe I'm talking about this
so
in a
fun.
podcast.
No, I love it.
But this is going to be the concept for my next album. I think I need to write about her and her story. But then I go back to...
Was it this timeline?
No.
Okay.
It was like... I mean, it must have been in like the 1600s or something.
Okay.
And yeah,
So you know of the person who killed you in this life? Like, you know.
I know them very well.
Was it them or them as a different being?
They were.
Then? Do you know what I'm saying?
A different human.
Okay.
They didn't look like them, but they have their eyes.
Okay.
And
that's wild.
It's pretty crazy, but yeah. And then I look at the music that I wrote when I first began writing music, and it was all about like getting murdered. And that freaked me out when I realized, oh my God, I wrote a whole album about like someone killing me and like me going back to haunt them. And then I started getting these memories, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a little like creepy to talk about, but
no, it's great. I love it.
It's weird. It's weird, but it also brings me a lot of peace to know that like we've both come back into this life to be able to settle that, you know, to both be able to heal from that in this life.
It's giving, did you watch Wednesday?
Yes.
It's giving Wednesday Addams like the what was her, like the other girl's name? That was her. You know what I'm saying? Did you watch the whole thing?
Maybe not.
Okay, then I'm not going to say anything else. You need to.
Okay, I'll go watch it.
To watch it.
I will go.
Like you need to.
I'll go watch it.
Because also, I think she's like has red hair. Yeah. So
what?
Just you just got to watch it. I can't say anything else.
That's the other crazy thing too. I started working with this shaman. I'm not working with her anymore, but she helped me do a lot of internal healing, and we would meditate together, and I would see her in my meditations. And she told me that in my past life, I had red hair. And when she told me that, I was like, oh my God, so I'm not losing my mind when I see myself with red hair in the mirror. Like that's...
Would you be tempted to dye your hair red, or would that be just like completely freaky?
I don't think... as much as I think that red hair is beautiful, I just don't think it would suit me in this life.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to get hair extensions tomorrow as
cool.
a part of reclaiming my femininity.
Your femininity. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm really excited. But I did have like strips of red when I was trying to dye it back from being black, and just didn't look great on me. Yeah. I like my blonde.
Well, that's probably for the best, because I imagine that could be really jarring, that really, if you saw yourself with the red hair and like, yeah, that would be so weird.
But my boyfriend was in that life with me. And the only time that I experienced happiness really was when we were little kids together. And that was the happiest time in my life. And then he had to go away, and I'm not sure where he had to go, but hopefully we'll find that out in my past life regression.
Oh my God.
And he left, and then my life was just pretty sad after that. And I spent the rest of my life kind of hoping he would come back.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You have me thinking. I'm so fascinated by it all. I think, admittedly, I believe all of it way more than I like let on, just because I think there's some sort of almost like a protection I have of myself to, it's like a vulnerability whenever you like kind of, for myself, to admit to these like more spiritual connections. And I'm a very spiritual person. Like as a kid, I was incredibly spiritual.
Well, you have a whole podcast about it. So
yeah, I mean,
obviously.
I am spiritual, but like even this is like obviously more on the woo-woo side than like a lot of the conversations that I have. Yes. But it's a huge part of myself, but it's very vulnerable because I know I also pride myself on like, I like things being very fact-based and science.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're a Virgo.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo, right? And so I want it to be, I have both sides of me that kind of fight to like what is shown,
Right.
So I think a lot of my like more facts-based side is like, it's like less vulnerable to like share to the world. Whereas like spirituality is like just scary because people
call you crazy.
Dude,
yeah. The amount of people that have called me crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's fine. I've
Yeah.
kind of accepted it at this point. But because it's like, if I didn't, I just believe this so strongly that I'm okay with being called crazy for it. And like, it doesn't, I don't really care.
Yeah.
If you're going to call me crazy, that's okay. And you can believe whatever you want.
Yeah. No. And I love that. I love having someone like you in my life that kind of like pushes me towards that more, like accepting it and accepting like the spirituality, not just the crazy.
It's weird. It's definitely like, and especially in a world where we're so disconnected, like even like major religions can be disconnected from spirituality.
I think religion has gotten in the way of spirituality a lot of the times because they paint it out to be like that it's spiritual, but it's like the antithesis of it. And so then people get confused. They're like, oh, I'm spiritual. I'm like, no, you don't, you go to church. Like that doesn't mean you've been like connected.
And I think that, talking specifically about Christianity, I think at the root of it and where it started was it was a very spiritual religion.
Yeah.
I think it's always been intended to be, but it's been in the hands of humans in man for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
So of course people are going to use this beautiful spiritual thing for their benefit. Kings have changed the Bible to incite more fear so that they can control their people. Like humans, the book's been translated so many times by humans.
Yeah.
These concepts that are so big that we can't even, like, it's hard to even wrap your mind around, having a simple human transcribe that into a different language. It's like, where Christianity started, it was really intended to be spiritual and to live the way Jesus lived and take care of prostitutes, take care of like the bottom of society and love everyone. And that's the message that it's trying to spread. But I think it's just been in the hands of humans for so long that often it gets misconstrued as like, that's a sin to do that when,
that wasn't the focus.
Yeah.
That wasn't the focus.
That wasn't the focus.
I think I see the beginnings of quote unquote Christianity as more of a communal practice rather than even spiritual. I think it was more of a, hey,
connection.
let's all get together. Let's have a meal. Let's hang out. Let's love on people. I think it was definitely more of the community-based type experience rather than even like spiritual in the sense of like I don't think they were necessarily sitting down and all doing like worship or prayer together. I think it was literally hanging out, cracking jokes, like making sure everybody was welcome, like
just hanging out with the homies.
Yeah, hanging out with the homies. I think that was like the original
good food
intention. Yeah, breaking bread,
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's neither here nor there because we've both deconstructed our faith and
maybe in a past life.
Maybe in past lives.
Maybe in the next life, you and I will be the disciples hanging out with the homies.
Maybe
breaking bread.
Maybe. Okay, so I do have like we've talked about several things now that I wrote down. So I'm like, let me like see if I can circle back. So, I was gonna ask you any particular vivid or meaningful memories that like you could think of for past lives, and you kind of have talked about that. And then, so I think now catching us back up to, let's say like 2019, that's whenever you stopped drinking, right? Okay. So I want to know like what inspired you to stop drinking, kind of talk about like where you were at in life then, and then how sobriety has impacted your journey of like self-reflection and self-discovery and healing.
Totally. I think, when I quit drinking, it was another sort of rock bottom for me where I was feeling just like incredibly alone, and feeling disconnected from music at that point. Yeah. So I didn't even have the one thing that I had, my last rock bottom. And I ended up calling a suicide hotline one night, actually, and they saved my life. They were amazing. And then, you know, my best friend Elise lives in LA, and she has gotten me through so much. She got me through that really hard period of time. And and I quit. I just knew I needed a big change. I knew my life wasn't going the way that I wanted it to. And I knew I needed to start something. I didn't know what healing was. I didn't know that I needed to heal.
Yeah.
Because I had been so heavily drinking since 2015. So, and that was like my whole adolescent career. And then, I knew I needed something. I knew I needed a big change. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to become vegan. Yeah. And life has been so much easier since I've stopped drinking. I don't like the idea. I don't like the mindset of saying I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
I think that that's toxic because, you know, we live in a physical world, and wine, alcohol, it's such a part of our culture. There will be a time when I drink again. Yeah. And there have been times in that 5-year period where I have drank, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was really hardcore sober for like 3 years. And then I went through actually a really chaotic time in my life with the guy in my past life who murdered me.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hit another rock bottom, started drinking again, and stopped drinking. And after that, and ever since then, now I'll occasionally have a glass of wine if I feel like it. Yeah. If I feel like celebrating, because I deserve that. But I will never drink the way that I used to. And I think alcohol, you know, it's called spirits, which is kind of a creepy thing. Yeah. To be putting spirits into your body. Totally. I don't love that. But wine, to me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm totally cool with drinking wine. I just like tequila, and no offense to Yoko Vodka. Great brand. Great brand. I love them. I love Yoko Vodka. I just don't know if the spirits side are for me, and maybe it's just me getting in my head, but just the fact that it's called a spirit freaks me out. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to put that in my body. I'm in a period of time where I'm really like reassessing everything I put in my body. Yeah. Like food, how I nourish myself.
Absolutely. You're no longer vegan, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we both have been on a vegan pilgrimage as well, and then have come out of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, I think when we all kind of became vegan, there was a big push because, you know, it was save animals, save your body. Factory farming is terrible. I read so many books I read Omnivore's Dilemma, Big Chicken. And I was like, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. Yeah. But then since I started eating meat, my body feels, and I'm only eating like grass fed, whatever now. I'll only eat like, I'm not going to go to like In-N-Out and get a burger, but my body feels so much healthier than it ever did when I was vegan. And I think there is a healthy way to do veganism, but you have to cook a lot and you can't eat all the processed shit. Yeah. And I was eating all the processed shit. Yeah. And it wasn't healthy.
Towards the end as well. Because I was like, I'm eating like nothing else sounded good to me. I think my problem was like, I really like a lot of foods, but I actually I hate beans, and I don't really love like nuts and seeds. I kind of have to force myself. I have to have them out. Actually, I have like nuts in a bowl over there just to force myself to every once in a while eat that. Otherwise, I did not like vegan sources of protein. Like I just genuinely didn't like the taste of it or the texture.
Same.
And I'm just like such a carnivore type, like my actual taste buds. I'm like, I love actual meat, like proteins. Like yes. That's easy for me to get, like to eat, and like eating plentifully now.
Good for you.
But yeah, I definitely feel you on like the nourishment.
And even like, I feel like I look at sex in a different way now. Well, this is something that I've never really talked about, but like yeah, obviously I told you I went through a lot of sexual trauma. And then I had a really just horrible ex who caused me a lot of pain and trauma as well. But we were also doing drugs together, so that'll also cause some pain and problems. So then, at the beginning of my relationship with Dawson, like Dawson's my current boyfriend. Sex was totally fine. And then all of a sudden I was, like I said, he was helping me heal this like softer, more feminine side of me. And like, I hit a point where like we were having sex and I would start crying or like we were all of a sudden, like I would just fall asleep. Like I would get so scared that I would fall asleep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of that is tied to sexual trauma. But that's really why we started going to couples therapy was because I wasn't able to have sex without falling asleep or crying.
Yeah. You were either, cause you probably fell asleep to numb out and
Totally. Yeah. Which it's a fight or flight.
Yeah. Literally
response.
You're like, either I'm fighting or flighting.
and then there's a third one, which is freeze.
Yeah.
And that's what my thing is. And so, going to couples therapy, we've been doing this thing called Sensate where you spend 8 to 10 minutes every night where I spend 8 minutes touching him, not in a sexual way, just like touch, just to reintroduce touch to in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And you add in different parts of your body slowly over time. We have, this week we've been going for like 6 months now. We just got to like the full body. Last night we were doing our Sensate and my body now, I don't fall asleep anymore. It's crazy how it's healed. Like I don't fall asleep. I go into this like fight mode where like my body just like twitches without me being able to know. And he touched a part of me that triggered me and I kneed him in the face and we thought I broke his nose for a second. My therapist doesn't even know this yet.
Oh my gosh. We're getting the real tea.
But I think it's also just like, this is an important thing to talk about because there's such a stigma around it. And 1 in 3 women experience sexual assault in their life. 1 in 6 men experience sexual assault. And what I'm experiencing right now is the aftermath of that and the healing from that. And it's like, my body was so violated that now that it started putting me to sleep when intimacy came up. And now I'm in this fight mode. And it's cool just to like, we've been able to have sex now in a way that just feels so powerful and like a union of two people. And before, sex was something that I did because it was for a man's pleasure, because that's what my mom told me at a young age. Crazy thing for a mom to say. I love my mom. She's my best friend. But she did tell me that if you're not always having sex with the person you're with, they will leave you.
Oh, I had the same thing. Yeah. And it was like, if you get in an argument or if a man is mad at you, like, you know what to do.
Yes. And I will never tell my daughter that.
No, never. Yeah.
Never use your body as a means to make a man feel better.
To like fix somebody else.
No, or a woman. Your body is your body and sex is meant to be experienced together as two beings coming together. We, as having a woman's body, you have a portal to the universe, to God. You can create life through your portal. Like that is such a powerful thing, So to give that to someone, it's very spiritual. And like talking about, now we've gone on a huge tangent, but bringing it back to like the things I put in my body.
Yes.
Like I feel like I look at sex so differently now.
Yeah.
And it is a very spiritual thing. And I know everybody says that sex is such a spiritual thing, but I just didn't realize how spiritual it was until Dawson and I got together. It's
interesting because that's what I must have just like kind of picked up that intuitively, because as soon as he said what I put in my body, like it's like I was like thinking that was included, and it should be, people who are like super holistic and watch what they eat and are careful what they do, but if they're just like, and no shade towards people who are like in their like Trampage era, but like if you're not thinking like clearly about what you are putting else in your body, like physically with another person, like that's affecting you as well. Even if you think it's not, like it is, it's literally in and around you. Like
you're creating a tie with them too.
Like, Yes.
I really think that when you have sex with someone, you're creating like a cord from you to them.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've been so like numbed in society to like have one night stands and to like hook up with random people. And that's just what our culture has become.
Yeah.
Because our culture is run by men. But like, and like, if you asked me this like 7 years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, I can hook up with people and not have any feelings for them, blah, 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 blah. But why would you want to hook up with someone and have no feelings?
Yeah, right.
It's a beautiful, spiritual, sacred thing. Like, it's how you create life. Like, it's something you should do because you want to feel something.
Yes,
not,
exactly.
You know,
not because you're running away from something.
Not an escape.
Yes,
yeah.
Totally. Yeah, one of my friends actually just came out with saying that she had been using sex as like a coping mechanism
to escape.
And like, yeah, she was shutting off too. So I think that's just so fascinating. I love that. I love that you went there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's whole body. Like it's in a holistic way to talk about like the things that you're putting in your body. So
yeah.
I appreciate that, of course. Okay. You did talk about, what is it? Moldavite?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you did mention that and you said everything changed.
Bro.
So like,
have you bought moldavite before?
I don't think so. So, because, no, I don't think so.
Okay, I gotta get
Tell us about moldavite.
Moldavite, it's this little tiny green crystal. Okay. And it was like, everyone on TikTok was like, don't get moldavite, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Don't get moldavite. Your life will go crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, well, this was when I was first getting into crystals. I was like, well, there's no way a little rock can turn my life upside down.
That's what I would be like.
Yeah. So I went and I bought the tiniest little piece of moldavite you could possibly buy in Maui because I was living in Maui at the time. And I got this tiny little crystal. It disappeared. And in that period of time, my life was turned around. I lost all my friends that I had at that period of time.
Oh gosh.
I don't even want to say lost. Like I just stopped aligning with them.
Yeah.
Basically what moldavite does is it completely clears everything out of your life that's no longer serving you. Okay. Even the things that you don't realize are no longer serving you. So whether that's people, whether that's habits, whatever that is. So I stopped aligning. I was like not in alignment with a lot of the people in my life. And it was really hard for me because I just have a hard time letting go of people. I don't like cutting people off because I know what it's like to be alone and I don't ever want anyone else to feel that way.
I actually was gonna, but at one point I was gonna stop you and be like, did you feel like a loner or like misunderstood a lot? Because I feel like there's a lot of like similar ties. And like,
did you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, all the songs I wrote was like, I'm alone and whatever. And my whole passion was like, I want people to know they're not alone, you know? So anyway, go ahead.
Yes. But then I'm sure you can relate to like the unhealthy side of that too is like taking care of people and showing up for people that aren't showing up for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you know what it's like to feel alone and you don't want them to feel alone.
Yeah, never wanting to cut people off or out. Yeah.
It's
to a detriment.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. But there are certain people that do need to be cut off.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe in like blocking their number, deleting their number.
Do what you gotta do.
Blocking them on Instagram. If you don't want that person in your life, there's nothing wrong with blocking them. And that's something I was talking about the other day with my friend Bonner. Like, it's so weird to live in a period of time where you're just expected to watch everybody that you've ever come in contact with go through life on social media. Like,
it is weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
There's people I follow from kindergarten that I haven't seen since kindergarten, but I've watched them grow up.
That's so, yeah.
We're not wired to see that. To watch
and keep
that,
up with
that many people.
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
Yeah. We're definitely not like evolved to that point. Like it's so brand new. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same thing with like news and like knowing what's going on in the world. It's like my little empathetic heart and brain were not meant to see.
Don't watch the news.
No, and I don't. I for sure
Me
don't.
Either.
But for like in 2020 when I was like writing the social justice wave, I like was addicted to like learning all the like negative things. And I was like, like for real, it almost killed me. Like I could not do it anymore. again, side tangent, but
No, I completely get
we're
that.
not meant to see people like their whole lives, or like all the horror
hardships of this world, because there is a very dark side to this world. It's like you said, I think the way you put it earlier was really cool with like estheticians. You're supposed to like damage your skin so that it heals correctly. And like there's that is the physical reflection of what spiritual growth is. That's such a great metaphor for it. Micro tears. Yeah. That's a beautiful metaphor for spiritual growth. Seriously. And I never thought about it that way, but it's totally, that's the physical reflection of the spiritual journey. And it gets rid of those people. And like we talked about social media, you should not feel bad about blocking people or unfollowing people. Yeah. It's totally fine. And moldavite cleared all these people out of my life. And it was really hard for me because I had a hard time letting go of people. But now I'm in a place in my life where if something's not serving me, I kind of know that it's no longer serving me, because I've kind of developed my intuition enough to know. Yeah. Sometimes it's still hard to let things go that if you really love them. But you got to let people go. You got to let habits go that aren't serving you. And so Dawson and I went back to Maui again. My parents live in Maui now. So we went back, and Dawson decided to get moldavite from the same place that I got moldavite. Okay. And also when I got moldavite, my whole family fell apart. Like my whole family structure
So be careful.
It fell apart.
If you're not ready.
Yes. If you're not ready for everything to fall apart, but it falls apart so that it can come together. It's almost like a wildfire where it burns everything down so that you can grow.
Well, you know, I'm about to go get myself a moldavite. I live for that.
Yes.
I'm constantly tearing my whole life down to build it back up.
As a Virgo,
yes,
it's like the best stone for Virgos.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking even when you said it's a green stone, I'm like, yeah, that's like all me.
And I found that out because we got Dawson a moldavite, and he's a Virgo. Okay. And
is he in August or September Virgo?
September. Okay. You August?
Yeah. That's why I got that Leo vibes too.
Yes. I love it. I think you could really benefit from it because he bought it. It cleared a lot out of his life, but every time he holds the stone, he feels like it's charging him. Oh. Like he feels like an energetic charge from it. So he actually has it in a necklace and he wears it every day. Oh, great. The shaman that we were talking to said it's because he's a Virgo, and Virgos are spiritually charged from moldavite.
Okay, well, sign me up.
So we got to get you some.
Okay, should I go to the National Crystal Store?
No, they won't have it there. It's okay. I also like. I can get you some. I'll text you. Okay. When I'm going to Maui in June, because you want to get it from Maui.
Good. Okay, the good stuff.
I will bring you some back.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm so excited. Then we're gonna have to like
your life's gonna
go back to it.
It's gonna be crazy. Once you get it, give it like 3 months. Everything will fall apart.
Oh, you said June you're going? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then by the time you'd come back, you'd probably get it to me by like June or July.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So by maybe a little after your birthday, things will start getting better.
Damn.
I feel like you're at a level in your maturity where you've been through a lot and like you'll be fine with letting go of things you don't need.
You mentioned, so your mom is she's from Spain?
Yes. Okay. So all of my Spanish family, all my family still lives in Spain. My aunts and uncles, they all live in America. But all of my extended family lives there. And I've grown up there. I lived there for a period of my life.
That's so cool.
My mom shipped me off to go learn Spanish.
I was going to say, you know Spanish then? Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you talk about it or like, I did not know that about you, like at all.
I kind of like having it as a secret because you would not expect that I'm Spanish.
Yeah.
Because I look like my dad.
Okay.
My mom has very dark features. She looks Spanish. Yeah. And here I am, this like white blonde girl.
Well, I mean, Spain.
It's still white people.
Yeah. I mean, I think people confuse because like the Spanish
and Hispanic
took over Mexico.
Right.
Quote unquote Mexico. And people confuse like Spanish and Mexican. I'm like, those are different
Very
people.
Different. Yes.
Like different lands and whatever. So yeah, no, Spanish is still pale skinned.
It is.
Anyway, yeah, that's so crazy that you have that little secret about you.
Yes, it's a little hidden secret. But yeah, my family still lives there. We'll probably get married in Spain. I Love Spain.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have the option of like Spain or Maui, right? Is that what
That's true, actually.
Like you literally have
That's true.
so many
Some
options.
good places.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, what a dream. So, okay. So being like that your mom's from Spain, do you feel like that culture has influenced your music or your spirituality in any way?
Yes, I think I feel very connected to like my Spanish ancestors. And I think part of healing my femininity in this life was kind of ending a lineage of women who were silenced and women who just kind of enabled or like did everything to take care of the men in their lives. I think that's been a huge part of like my mom's side of the family, the women in her family. You know, I'm hoping that it ends with me.
Yeah.
Because I kind of got out of those types of relationships, and now I'm just with Dawson, who we kind of have a very mutual relationship where we both take care of each other. But yeah, the Spanish with that album I wrote where I am murdered and haunting someone.
Yeah.
There's a song on there called "Pray." It says "You better pray," because the lyrics are just weird. I'll be hiding in the shadows in the corner of your room. Like, it's creepy. It's a really creepy album. And it's like a Spanish guitar. Like, it sounds scary. That song is a scary song, but it definitely has like Spanish elements to it for sure. So I think it totally impacts my music. And, you know, I love Spanish music and reggaeton. And I don't think I personally could make reggaeton type music, but I love dancing to it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's cool. Like little elements are going to come out for you
totally.
know, that you're inspired by, but that you can even like go out of your way to incorporate too, as almost like a little Easter egg. Like people don't really know that like, you're Spanish. And so, but having a little Spanish guitar, it's going to be like, hey,
yes,
a little bit of like,
yes.
Sparkle.
It's my favorite thing too. And like people are like out in the world and like either talking shit about me, or just like saying little things in Spanish, and they wouldn't expect me to be Spanish.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny because I'm like, I know exactly what you're saying about me.
That's funny. They would never expect it. Your blue eyes and your blonde hair. And they're like, yeah, this girl, let's talk shit about her. And you're like, excuse me. And respond right back to them.
Yes.
Okay. So I do have 2 more questions.
Yeah.
So first, what advice would you give to other people who are like on a similar journey as like you've been on, of like self-discovery and healing, especially those interested in exploring spirituality and alternative healing modalities?
I love, it's I think it's one of the craziest parts of the spiritual journey is like, there comes a time where like you really feel like you're right and you want to share it with everyone in the world and you want to tell them everything you're doing. Yeah. And it's all you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But sometimes other people are at different places in their journey, and maybe in those situations they'll call you crazy or whatever. But I think my advice would be just like, don't let other people's negativity get in the way of your own growth, and know that it's a process that you're just starting. We're all just starting. And once you start healing, it's like you're this, I think of people as just these like tangled balls of yarn. And once you heal, you just are pulling the string a little bit, and it just leads to another thing and another thing and another thing. And you're just, for the rest of our lives, we're going to be constantly unraveling everything. And then
also like, not to use the word reconstruct, but that's the only one I could think of. It's like unraveling and then like raveling again. Like we're constantly in that state. It's
the tension and release, which is such a cool part of every aspect of human life. There's tension and release. You know, you have to, even in like yoga or working out, there's like the tension part where you're building heat and it kind of sucks. But then you get the release of Shavasana at the end. And then when you're running, it sucks to be running. I mean, I don't love running, but I go for runs every other morning. Yeah. And I'd hate it. But then afterward, I feel so good. Yeah. And so it's like the spiritual journey or the healing journey too. It's this constant tension and release and this battle. And sometimes you fall down, but it almost feels like you're climbing a staircase, you know, like you go up a couple stairs, then you get knocked down a couple, but now, and it seems so scary to have to go up those stairs again, but you've already built the strength in your muscles and you'll be able to go back up those stairs easier than you did the time before. So every time you fall down, it's going to be easier to get back up again. And it's a life's work. It's a life's journey. And once you start, there's really no stopping, but you can't, I just think listening is the most important thing to do, and listen to other people's ideas. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to, but don't tell them they're wrong. Just listen.
Listen. Yeah. That actually leads me into my last question. Because I was going to say, I think it's really important to stay curious.
Yeah.
That's what obviously this podcast is about. It's curiosity, place of curiosity. And so my last question for you is, what role does curiosity play in your life?
Ooh, it's curiosity is like, I think the most important thing you can have in life. It's the constant learning. It's a constant growing. The day you stop being curious is the day you stop learning and growing. Yeah. And I think, especially in a musical standpoint, keeping that curious mindset of always wanting to grow and always wanting to learn, that's how you continue to make better and better music. That's how you continue to become a better and better person. You be curious about everything. Yeah.
I couldn't say it better myself.
Yes.
So Chelsea, thank you so much.
Thank you
for taking your time and being on Curiosity. And go ahead and shout out like where people can find you and get connected with you, and also like find your music and all that. Do all of it.
You can find me on Instagram and social media at King Chelsea with no vowels. And then my music is just under Chelsea King on all digital streaming platforms.
Love it. And when is the album dropping?
The album comes out May 24th.
Okay.
Yes.
So kind of soon.
Yes.
Like month and a half-ish.
A month and a half. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a song coming out before then on April 12th.
Okay. Great. Exciting. Well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you guys for listening. We love you. And until next time.
Thank you. Bye for having me.
Of course.